Hello, gearheads. Some cars are so unique they transcend the automotive world, becoming worldwide icons simply because of their looks and pop culture associations. The classic Mini, for example, became a symbol of 1960s Britain's cultural revolution. The Volkswagen microbus, now resurrected in electric form, became permanently associated with the flower power counterculture of the era. One car that has endured throughout the decades, shedding its troubled historical associations to build an image of itself as a quirky, offbeat automotive icon, is the Volkswagen Beetle. Affectionately known as the Bug, and has countless other nicknames in other parts of the world, the classic Beetle was one of the most popular cars of the 20th century, becoming the first car to reach the historic milestone of 20 million units sold. It also left a legacy behind in the form of the new Beetle, which takes its ancestors' most iconic design cues and updates them for the modern world. Let's explore the history of the Beetle and how it became a world record-holding car. The initial concept for what would become the Beetle was, infamously, the brainchild of Adolf Hitler, who explained the basic design principles he wanted for the car at a meeting in Berlin in 1934. His aim was to develop a vehicle that could transport 2 adults and 3 children while keeping fuel and maintenance costs as low as possible. He also insisted on an air-cooled engine, on the grounds that rural drivers may have difficulty accessing coolant. The project was dubbed the People's Car, or Volkswagen. The rest, as they say, is history. The contract for the development of this new car went to none other than Ferdinand Porsche, who worked with a number of high-profile automotive designers and engineers of the era. The project was overseen by KDF, a branch of the Nazi Party that organized structured leisure events as a means of spreading propaganda. This led to another name being used for the car, KDF Wagen. KDF's goal was to use the Volkswagen to increase private car ownership in Germany, which was very low at the time due to high fuel costs and high taxation. The first prototypes arrived in the mid-1930s with the air-cooled engine and the rounded features that made them instantly recognizable as the Beetles to this day. The design process of the Volkswagen continued as war broke out, with further testing introducing additional features such as split rear windows. Once the development phase was completed, mass manufacturing was slow to start. The Volkswagen factory in Wolfsburg, around 150 miles west of Berlin, had not been finished yet, and once building work had been completed, the facilities were taken over for military purposes. Nonetheless, by the end of the war, nearly 2,000 Volkswagen Beetles had been built. Part of what made the Beetle so popular is the fact that it's instantly recognizable and visually different from any other car on the road. Its rounded features, circular headlights, and bug-like appearance endeared it to the public and turned it into a design icon over the course of the 20th century. Part of the reason for this phenomenon comes from evolutionary psychology. Studies show that humans tend to associate certain elements of automotive design with human facial features. In 2010, at the 7th International Design and Emotion Conference in Chicago, researchers Linda Miesler and Helmut Leder presented a paper called The Cute Look: Baby Schema Effects in Product Design, which concluded that cars with a more baby-like appearance tend to be seen as cuter and perceived more positively due to humans' innate emotional response towards babies. The Beetle, no doubt, falls squarely into this category, with its large eyes and soft, rounded lines. The Beetle's popularity has also been boosted by numerous appearances on the big screen in blockbusters such as A Clockwork Orange and Footloose. It even got a starring role in a movie and TV franchise of its own, the Herbie series, starting with The Love Bug in 1969 and continuing with 5 sequels and a TV show. When production of the Beetle kicked off after the war, the model rapidly became a success, with sales climbing and manufacturing facilities growing. Wolfsburg, home to the Volkswagen factory, grew into a large town with accommodation being built for the fast-growing cohort of employees living in the area. The 50s and 60s were the Beetle's most successful decades. By the end of 1960, around 4,000 Type 1s were being built every day, and by 1965 this figure had increased to 800. The Beetle name was officially assigned to the model in 1968, deriving from the car's appearance. As the car was being manufactured and sold globally, each country named the car after the local language's word for beetle, resulting in countless different names all over the world. Other affectionate nicknames, most notably Bug, emerged thanks to the influence of pop culture. After the roaring success enjoyed by the Beetle in the 50s and 60s, at the start of the 1970s the model's fortunes began to change. More and more small, practical cars began to appear on the market, including Volkswagen's own Golf, which went into production in 1974. Having once been the only compact, practical, inexpensive car widely available on the market, the Beetle was now facing competition from all angles, including from Japanese car makers, which made a roaring entry into the market in the second half of the decade and continued to grow through the 1980s. Despite the dwindling popularity of the model, in 1981 the Beetle achieved a historical milestone in the automotive world, becoming the very first car to sell 20 million units worldwide. The car that broke the record was built in Mexico, rolling off the production line on May 15th. The Beetle had previously broken the world car production record, reaching 15 million units built in 1972. As the original Beetle's lifetime was drawing to a close in the 1990s, Volkswagen began to design a successor that would carry the model's iconic features forward. A concept car called the Concept One, which laid the foundations for the new Beetle, was revealed in 1994 at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. The production model arrived in 1998, 5 years before the original Type 1 Beetle was discontinued. A convertible version arrived in 2001. 4 years later, the model was given a facelift which included sharper lines, new wheels, lights, redesigned front and back bumpers, and an updated interior. The facelifted version went on sale in the USA for the 2006 model year. In 2011, the successor to the new Beetle arrived, this time simply called the Beetle. It carried over the model's fundamental design cues, continuing an almost century-long legacy until it went out of production in 2019. Around the same time as the last version of the Beetle was introduced, Volkswagen also produced a unique concept car that reimagined the Beetle as part of Volkswagen's high-performance R series. The Beetle R was given a more aggressive look and the same engine found in the equivalent Golf R at the time. A 2-liter 4-cylinder that produced 270 horsepower in the European market and slightly less in the US. Sadly, the Beetle R never went into production, simply becoming a part of the long history of an iconic model that has left an undeniable impact on the automotive world.